Where are they to be observed? It says, in the place where Yahweh chooses to make his name dwell. He says, you're going to go before Yahweh in a place he chooses. Okay, he chooses, in the place that he chooses. All right, so, I know a lot of argument comes out of this, like, well, where 2 or 3 of us are there his name is, so that's wherever that is, then as long as there's 2 or 3 of us, that's it. No, that doesn't work that way necessarily. Well, he chose to place his name. I always used to teach he chose to place his name in Jerusalem, so we all have to go to Jerusalem. Well, I felt like the Ruach gave me a different answer last night when I was putting the finishing touches on this, as I always do on a Friday night. You know what? He has chosen at this time for us to be in the diaspora. We're here because it's his choice. So it says that he wants us to do these things where he chooses. Guess what? He chose for you to be here. Ooh, that's a little different. For all these years, I used to tell people, well, if you're not going to Jerusalem, you're not keeping the feast right anyway. Well, no, I'm not so sure about that. When Yeshua returns and he gathers us all together, guess what? Then we're going to have Zechariah 14. Then, if you go to Zechariah 14, it says, in that day, if you do not come and keep the Feast of Tabernacles in Jerusalem, now you're going to be in trouble. In Zechariah 14, verse 16, and it shall be that all who are left from all of the nations which came up against Jerusalem, all the Gentiles, shall go up from year to year to bow themselves to the King of hosts, the King, Yahweh of hosts, and to observe the Feast of Booths, Chag HaSukkot. And it shall be if anyone of the clans of the earth does not come up to Jerusalem, to bow himself to the sovereign Yahweh of hosts, on them there is to be no rain, etc., etc. And if the clan of Mitzrayim does not come up and enter in, then there is no rain, and then on them is the plague which Yahweh plagues the Gentiles who do not come up to observe the Feast of Booths. Okay, so you have to come up to Jerusalem. But why would we be going up to Jerusalem then? Because Yeshua will have come back, be now sitting on the throne, because we're going to go to him and bow at his feet. Okay? So I'm going to say that 1616 is that you're to go where you're supposed to go with the group he's appointed you to go with here in the dispersion. Not just any 2 or 3 people gathered together claim that that's it. He has set you in a group. He set you in a body. He set you as a part of something, if that's the case. Some of you are scattered and isolated and not a part of anything. But you can try and become a part, even virtually, because we live stream it as best we can. But you have the ability, when it comes to the pilgrimage feast, to save up your second tithe. We're going to do a teaching on tithing again, too, to re-clarify all that. And that money is for feast keeping, and you would use that money to travel to these gathering places in the dispersion. Is that making any sense? Okay? So this was a new thing that the Ruach, I believe, just lighted my head up with at like 1 in the morning last night. Because I don't write these things on Friday night, don't get me wrong, but I review them before coming and allow that time when my family's already gone to bed, everybody's asleep, and I kind of go verse by verse through what I already wrote down to kind of make sure that I have what he wants me to give. And sometimes he throws these little interesting, clarifications in for me. So where are we to observe them? In the place where Yahweh chooses, and that has to do with where has he placed you. If he's placed you here in MTOI, then you're supposed to come to the MTOI observance. If this is where he's placed you. So I'm not saying everybody in the world, whatever, needs to come to the MTOI observance. If this is where he's placed you, so then you should come 3 times a year.